The variable exists function, we are setting a var to variable name, invoking the variable exists function, or var exists, and passing it a variable. This tells ExtremeXOS to examine if a variable exists. Here we have captured output of the var exists function. We're setting var to myvar2, and we're asking ExtremeXOS if myvar exists. And we've captured the output here. Show var, so we have no variable existing in the beginning. Then we set var to myTest exist. Then we set var exists, and we pass it the variable myTest. Now you'll notice that passing it the variable myTest, there's no $sign. Then we do a show var myvar, and we have a 1, which is a true state. Then we set var exists, and we pass it a variable that we know doesn't exist, and we're showing the output of a 0, which means it failed. This function can be used in complex scripts to provide a form of check when you are writing your scripts and you want to have a little bit of intelligence and do a little bit of error checking. This is a powerful function that allows you to check and see if a variable was created, and you can send a message or set a function to occur if a certain variable doesn't exist. Set var myvar match. We are examining the match function. This function will examine two variables and provide feedback as to if they match, they're greater than or less than. And here we examine the output. In this case, we're setting var myMatch. We're invoking the match function, and we are comparing myvar1 with myvar2. You'll notice in this case that we do have the $sign to call to the variable, and we're capturing the output. So in the output, we're setting myvar1 to 5, and we're setting myvar2 to 5. And then we're setting the myMatch variable, invoking the match function, and we are passing it myvar1 and myvar2. And if you see the show var myMatch, it is evaluating as a 0, which means the variables match exactly. Here we're showing off the power of the match function to evaluate greater than or less than. Now if you can see in the continuing captured output, we're setting myvar1 to 4, making it less than myvar2, and then we're invoking the match function again with a set var myMatch, invoking the match function, encapsulating the two variables that we want to compare, and we show var myMatch to -1, which means that myvar1 is less than myvar2. Here we're setting myvar1 to 6 to show the example of a greater than evaluation. If you see the show var myMatch evaluated to 1 in this case, that is because we set myvar1 to be 6, which is greater than 5. Now the set var myMatch invoking match function, when you pass that function, myvar1 is evaluated first, myvar2 is evaluated second. So myvar1, is it greater than or less than myvar2? Now the match function can be used in scripts to provide control conditions for if and while loops. In the case of an if, you would have a match condition occur. For example, if XYZ IP address matches my control variable, execute the following function. This is where you'll find the match function is used the most. Using the load script grep command, we will show how this script that is emulating a feature can add to the effectiveness of a switch. In this case, we're going to search through the FDB, and I'm going to enter a general entry to look for. In this case, I want to see any FDB entry that has a 00 in it and display it on the CLI. As you can see on the display, there are several MAC addresses. Now let's use an example that if you were looking for a specific MAC address at the CLI. In this example, we show that the load script grep command script has identified only the single MAC address that we were looking for and allowed me to search effectively through the FDB rapidly. We'll give the script a couple of seconds to complete. Now that the script is complete, we can realize the power of ExtremeXOS scripting by allowing scripters to create functionality that wouldn't normally exist on the switch. We just saw in the demonstrated video a grep script. For those of you who are not aware, grep is a Linux Unix function that allows you to search through strings for certain string elements. We provide a form of this in the form of a script that allows you to evaluate commands and look for certain arguments. And we break it down with a load script grep.xsf. Then we're invoking a show switch, and we're looking for anything within show switch. We're looking for any line that has time. Now this is a case-sensitive search, so if you were to put lowercase time, it wouldn't find anything because there's no lowercase time in the show switch command. We've captured the output, and if you look, we load script grep show switch time, and if you can see, all of the lines that had time in it appear. Now the load script grep CLI argument 1 and CLI argument 2 are how you execute this script, and this script can be found in the extras portion of this module. CLI argument 1 is the show switch time, and CLI argument 2 is the time. Now we're taking a look at the CLI argument value 1 and argument value 2. And if you look at the screen capture, you'll see that argument value 1 is a variable that was created by the operating system with show switch, and argument value 2 is the variable time that again was created by the switch. If you see argument value 0 is grep, that is the load script, the argument value that we passed after the load script command. And argument C, the variable is a value of 2, which because the Extreme operating system starts counting at 0, that means that there are 3 argument values that the operating system needs to be aware of.